Hey, what's good? It's your boy, Mixtape Moth, and today I'm going to hit y'all with a flashback review of Mozzy's 2017 album entitled Up Top Ahk. Let's get to it. Alright, so Mozzy is a prolific rapper coming out of Sacramento, California. He's not an artist for the faint of heart, and I say this because he gives very intense, sobering, and grim accounts of street life. He peels back the layers of gang life and the streets in a way that emphasizes the death, trauma, and addiction parts more than it does the wins. But today I wanted to revisit Mozzy's 2017 album entitled Up Top Ahk, a project that some fans regard as one of his best albums, if not his greatest release. It contains 16 tracks that last a total of about 49 minutes in length. The bulk of this was produced by June on the beat, who laces Mozzy with a collection of mostly dark, somber, and atmospheric instrumentals. There are a few high energy bangers, but there's still a dark quality to the majority of these beats. As far as the features, Mozzy enlists the following: June, Celly Rue, Mozzy, Lil Boozy, J Rock, Lil Durk, Dave East, Lex Aura, YFN Lucci, Cullion, The Jacka, and Bobby Love. But with that being said, let me just go ahead and give y'all this track by track breakdown. The intro contains a voicemail from a shook club promoter who is fearful of Mozzy and his entourage. He also lets it be known that he thinks of most rappers as thugs. This leads us into the first actual single entitled Mandated. Mozzy opens the track stating, "It's slimy where I live, Aki. It's mandatory that you keep it on you." On top of a dark and bass heavy instrumental, Mozzy gives us some gritty street and gang life bars. He raps, "Took a step back and started funding the gang war. Mama devastated, but it come with the gang war." He also admits to a time where he had stopped praying, started trapping, and gave Jesus a break. Track 2, Like You Say You Do, has an ominous piano and synth back beat. I would describe the production as having that mob music feel. Mozzy states, "It's traumatizing watching bullets penetrate a body. Without a body, dudes treat you like you ain't nobody." I feel that line shows the unreal pressure that is placed upon kids who grow up in the streets like Mozzy did, to be expected to be heartless. But on a slightly lighter note, I was impressed by the unique slang that he drops later in the track, where he states, "Slithered through the hood, I'm just browsing. Peanut butter couches in the foreign got me lounging." You know, even though Sacramento is technically not in the Bay, Mozzy's slang vernacular is right up there with some of the best rappers from the Bay Area. So the first two songs could be described as grimy street bangers. However, on the third track, Take It Up With God, Mozzy slows down the pace to offer up what is his most heartfelt and emotional record on the album. Mozzy and Celly Rue discuss the trauma and the loss that they have experienced due to the gun violence in their community. I was getting some Tupac and Scarface vibes from the way Mozzy was describing his pain-filled lifestyle. Probably the most touching aspect of the song is when Mozzy has to console his friend's mom, who's just lost her son. "If you could only see the pain in her eyes, he ain't coming back. Gotta take that up with God." This is indeed a song that will likely resonate with you if you have lost friends or family in general, but I think it will hit you differently and on a much deeper level if you have lost those individuals to gun violence. Right after is one of the album's singles and easily the most standout track in my opinion, Sleepwalking. Now, this song was actually played in the Black Panther movie, and it was one of my favorite songs of 2017. First off, the beat is incredible, from the gentle guitar strings, wailing vocal sample to the cowbell effect. It's an infectious instrumental. Even though the vibes here are a little smoother and brighter than some of the other songs, there's still a slight somber quality to this beat. It's a hood anthem, although it's reflective and introspective at the same time. Some bars that stood out to me were, "Thankful for this 100K. Thank you for my girly face. I was too broke to ever visualize a world this way." And I miss my brother DZ, only if them bullets grazed him. Wasn't no hatred in my heart until that happened. That's what changed me. So I thought that line really gave us some context into what made Mozzy kind of become cold hearted. What follows is Tomorrow Ain't Promised featuring Rex Life, Raj, Lil Boozy, and Mozzy. The beat is airy with a faint vocal harmony and light percussion. It kind of gives you that calming feeling like after a storm has just passed. This is a thought-provoking and slower tempo track about life in the trenches. While Mozzy and Mozzy had dope verses, it was actually Lil Boozy who impressed me the most. Surprisingly, I think he hit the nail on the head with, no matter how real, it's hard to get everyone to respect you. Right after is the June on the beat produced Unfortunately, which also features June on the hook. Now Mozzy speaks on the sacrifices that he had to make being in the streets over some moody production, but he feels conflicted because the same streets he once fell in love with don't love him back. His second verse was definitely my favorite. Mozzy references his aunt's drug addiction on the following bars. Auntie looking for a vein told me to mind my business. I looked the other way because it's too horrific to vision. So if you ever had to deal with someone you love who's using hard drugs, this track is likely going to resonate with you because that is truly a haunting experience to have to witness. The following track, Don't You, has a gorgeous piano and synth backdrop. I feel Nipsey would have sounded great over this beat. The production handled by June on the beat almost sounds ahead of his time, as I could see an artist like Polo G using a similar style beat in 2021. There is a much needed tempo shift on the following, Mama We Made It. This is more of a bass heavy G-Funk banger. It also features a dope verse from J-Rock, an artist who I wish we get another project from soon. Things stay in this up-tempo and banger mode on the next track, Outside. There's more of a trap meets drill flavor to this production as it was handled by Murder Beats. The hook from Lex Aura sounds a little dated by 2021 standards. At the time, I suppose it went hard, but it does come across as a wannabe Travis Scott meets Tory Lanez refrain from that particular time period. While I think Lil Durk had a solid verse, it was Mozzy and Dave East who caught my attention the most. Dave East rhymes, I caught a couple licks outside. I turned Crip outside. I was taught to spray the whole strip if ain't no kids outside. The following, Stay Over There, featuring YFN Lucci and Coleon, has some thought-provoking lyrics that honor fallen street soldiers, but I do consider this to be one of my least favorites from the project. And I say this not because it's a bad song or that I don't respect the content here, but to me, this record comes across more as a YFN Lucci song featuring Mozzy than the other way around. But the subsequent record, M.I.P. Jacka, is a standout moment on this LP for sure. Set to an ethereal and epic backdrop, Mozzy pays homage to the deceased Bay Area legend, the Jacka. I like how this beat builds because it starts out almost formless and super atmospheric. Both the Jacka and Mozzy drop strong verses, you get motivational bars, great flows, and unique production here. On Afraid, Mozzy gives us some introspection over what I would describe as a G Herbo sounding beats. Mozzy reflects back on the hard times with my future was never for certain. We had to use dish liquid for detergent. So he's just painting a picture coming up in poverty. The hook, performed by DCMBR, is slightly drenched in auto-tune, but sung pretty well. The following, Prayed for This, is another notable song from this album. This contains a saxophone and synth backed beat that has an 80s R&B and jazz feel. We get some more deep introspection from Mozzy as he finds himself in a dilemma. The life he once prayed for has become the life that has given him much pain and hardship. On the hook, he candidly states, I used to pray for this life, a lot of misfortune that came with this life. He also drops a streetwise gem with, Your partners are snakes, open your eyes, learn to recline when they're showing you signs. It kind of echoes the pay attention to your circle before they hurt you kind of sentiment. The second to last track is Can't Take It, I'm a Gangsta. On top of some smooth and gentle keyboard production, Mozzy talks some real heartfelt street shit. This is what I would consider to be poignant trenches rap. I was impressed by the following bars. Mama used to choke slam us just for talking back. Gangsta rap died with Pac. Mozzy brought it back. The album ends on somewhat of an optimistic note with Fall Off. The instrumental is melodic with some pristine keys. This probably has my favorite piano melody on the whole album. It's a strong track to close the album out with, as I particularly dug the motivational sentiment as well as the production. Overall, I give this album a rating of a strong 4 mics. I would say this was probably one of the better releases to have come out in 2017. In my opinion, it cemented Mozzy as an important voice to have emerged from the West Coast at this time. Although, while his lyrics were detailed, crisp, and sharp the whole way through, I did feel the content became a little repetitive towards probably the third leg of the album. You know, Mozzy's depictions of street life are so true to life that it can be a tough listen, especially if you are fully immersed into what he's saying. At the same time, however, I would consider this to be one of his strengths as a lyricist, but it can also cause some fatigue for the listener because, you know, there's only so much heartache and death that one can process within an hour before it just becomes overwhelming. Even though this project isn't flawless, I do feel it has higher highs and more memorable tracks than 2020's Beyond Bulletproof, an album that I thought was his most consistent and cohesive to date. Still, I want to say Up Top Ahk is his best album, but perhaps I'm a little biased as this project was my introduction to his music. I have yet to hear his prior works, unfortunately. So in the comments section, hardcore Mozzy fans who've been rocking with him from the jump, can y'all do me a favor and let me know, where do you rank this album, Up Top Ahk, in his discography? Do you consider it to be his best? Please let me know below. My favorite tracks include Mandated, Take It Up With God, Sleepwalking, Unfortunately, Mama We Made It, M.I.P. Jacka, Pray For This, and Fall Off. Let me know what you thought about this album in the comment section below. It's your boy, Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Mozzy, Up Top Ahk, 1.